Shouldn't Shedeur start over Dillon Gabriel? Shouldn't he get the start first?
Oh, I don't think so at all.
Well, here's my thinking. They want to see what Shedeur Sanders is. He's a throw-in. He's an asset. Dillon Gabriel's going to be here as their backup quarterback in your mind for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
No rush in getting him in there. Let's see what Sanders can do.
Geno Smith is throwing meatballs to anybody in the opposite color jersey, and you gonna look at me in the eye and say, "How disrespectful!" I just can't believe he would call ass quarterbacks ass. Wow, who'd have guessed it? After admittedly probably the most boring slate of Monday Night Football games, Cleveland media is talking about Shedeur Sanders, and we're gonna check it because Shedeur Sanders finally actually said something. Not said something, but he did do something. He was caught, surprise, surprise, Rex Ryan. Nobody tell him, working out. It's like he's been doing that like every fucking weekend. We've been seeing clips of him getting extra work in since he got into the Cleveland. But hey, maybe he's just lying. Maybe he's just taking one quick picture and getting one quick video, throwing through passes and getting up out of there. I don't know why you would pay the quarterback coach for that, but we have updates from there. And then, I really do think Tony Rizzo's compromised. I do. I thought Rizzo was on our side. I thought he was a Big 12 guy, but he's starting to turn. So we're going to listen to a lot of different clips from ESPN Cleveland. We're going to talk about some of the validity and different things like that, as well as speak about the fact that Tony Rizzo is saying that Dillon Gabriel is starting. And not only that there has been beef in the locker room over this whole situation. So let me not slow you down anymore. First things first, this is Rex Ryan. Look, Mr. Rex, are you paying attention here? Now, I'm sure he released this specifically, the video at least specifically now because, just in case you was wondering what I was doing on my off day. You know what I'm saying? Getting the whip and getting the thing. And again, I would think that this is weird. However, if y'all remember, last week he was also training at a local, I think it was a D2, D3 school. And the only thing is Shedeur didn't post those clips. The kids posted those clips on TikToks and people were sending them. So he went ahead on this on another week, on another time, in another situation, right? And he went ahead and showed off, hey, man, I'm still putting that work in, man. Just in case y'all was worried. Just in case y'all was asking about me. And speaking about asking about it, right? Actually, before that we get there, let's get into these claims of DG time out in Cleveland. Go ahead, Riz.
Chris, let me just state for the record, here on the Tony Rizzo Show, exclusively on YouTube. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good afternoon if you watch this in the morning. Afternoon.
Dillon Gabriel's going to start, according to my sources. Good night, everybody. Chris, it sounds to me like this kid's going to start, and why not? Chris, what the hell? Chris, does it really matter who starts at quarterback with the Browns?
The way this team is operating right now,
That's a good point. That's a good point. That is something, and that's why I've been like, hey, a lot of people say I'm delusional. I'm a Shedeur fan. Y'all must not watch my videos because every single video I talk about Shedeur, I say do not let Shedeur start, please, because I don't want him to get Andrew Lucked. I don't want him to get folded like a lawn chair. I don't want him to get suplexed because this offensive line is falling apart and we're only 4 weeks through the season. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way, right? Now, shout out to Quinshon Judkins. That is going to make your job a lot easier to whoever is going to be quarterback as he gets his legs up under him. He's just getting started, by the way. Y'all better watch out for Quinshon. Y'all better watch out for Harold Fannin. But that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is that Big Rizzo, right? And there's 2 points here. The first point is that there was a lot to be said, a lot of rumblings because of how terrible Joe Flacco was. And everybody sees the obvious that someone else needs to play quarterback at this point. But it was kind of on the fence. And now Riz is getting rumblings from his sources. We're going to get into some more rumblings from Rizzo's sources. But if we could take a small detour, it reminds me of one of the points that I made about the Rex Ryan comments with Rizzo. And it was like, hey, are you telling me that so you want me to believe, like, let's everybody, let's just be honest here. You want me to believe that Tony Rizzo sources can tell him that when a quarterback change is going to happen, but he doesn't have info on the things like Rex Ryan and him not being, or sorry, and Shedeur Sanders not working hard or being delayed, all this that to me don't add up. It's especially when you point out the fact that you go and you look at the depth chart, the unofficial one, and there is no change at quarterback in any way. This is the new September 29th. I know it looks like a potato because I downloaded it. Now, detour, because some positive news, again, as a Shedeur fan, that means I'm a big Gage guy. Gage Levarden and Malachi Corley have both been assigned over to the active roster from the practice squad. So that's just general new Browns fans. I'm sure I have a few people who are actual Browns fans say, first off, I'm sorry. I'm a Texans fan. I think I kind of feel your pain. But, there's some good things there, as well as the team has placed Cedric Tillman, hamstring on injured reserve, and waived cornerback Cameron Mitchell. In addition, the club has signed cornerback Amir Speed to the practice squad. So just general updates there, too. So if you're telling me, and again, I hate that we have to get back here. We're gonna revisit this. We're putting a pin in this. But you're telling me Tony Rizzo has sources that can tell him when a quarterback changes happens. But when Rex Ryan says something, not even Tony Grossi, like is that not computing? Tony Grossi didn't even, he would have reported that as soon as he heard it, boy. And even he was like, I guess somebody told him. But we're hearing about quarterback changes before the even unofficial depth chart, before Kevin Stefanski, before anything. Okay. Now let's hear about the internal strife. The locker room's turning on Kevin Stefanski. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. If I was Myles Garrett, if I was Grant Delpit, if I was these players, the Browns, and I get on here every time I take a steaming number 2 on the Browns, I also talk about how phenomenal a lot of their players have been through history. Joe Thomas's of the world. What's it called? Peyton Hillis for one season. What's this called? Captain Marijuana, Josh Gordon, a phenomenal wide receiver. You feel me? Like, there's a lot of great players. And then obviously on this active roster, I think this rookie class, I've on record, you could take Shedeur, Dillon. You can take Shedeur and Dillon, take the quarterbacks out of this rookie class for the Browns, and I think this is one of the most dynamic rookie class. Like, they did great almost everywhere except picking 2 quarterbacks. I still don't. The asset management in there doesn't work. But Mason Graham is starting to blossom. Quinshon Judkins is a real deal running back 1. Dylan Sampson, he still needs to get his touches, but I think that the thing that makes him so good is that you can easily just integrate him into the passing game. As much as that he is, and he was known as to be a bell cow runner, he's got soft hands. He's able to go out there. So they just need to be adding that, especially with the need for wide receiver depth and wide receiver action. But that's not the point. You got Jerry Jeudy. He's kind of mid. You got Harold Fannin Jr., who offensive coordinator Tommy Rees seems to already start to, he's chomping at the bit to get excited and add him and allow him to get active in different ways. There's a lot of possibilities with this Browns team. Joe Flacco can't do it, and we love January Joe around here. Okay, we love him. That's that. Hey, FCS legend, Delaware guy. We're all about Double J. It's time to hang it up, big homie. You feel me?
My insiders say that there's strife in the building. Tony wrote about it, too, today. He must have got the same stuff. But apparently, it's Kev v. Andrew and Jimmy, from what I understand. Kev wants to keep Flacco. Andrew and Jimmy want the processor. The Browns have too many decision makers in football ops. Reaction or overreaction?
It's a reaction.
All day. Like, when are they going to learn? Too many, Chris. A lot of teams, the teams that do really well, the coach has his side and the front office has their side. On this team, it's everybody has everything going on. You understand?
Totally.
Like, everybody's in, except for Kevin. He all he does is coach on Sunday.
Except Mr. Pansky. Can we talk about this? This is real net. And first off, I do want to correct. I said the locker room. That's me inferring, but he actually said he's speaking about internal decision makers, which I'm sure does not reflect well on the locker room, regardless. Right? This is something that's not great. But I think this is this isn't losing the locker room, but if internally you're right, and I came out and I told y'all, and I told y'all to pay attention. I was probably one of the only quote unquote Shedeur fans, Shedeur, whatever y'all call us. I was one of the only people who, whenever Jimmy Haslam came out and it was like, hey, the decision to draft Shedeur was a Jimmy, not Jimmy. It was an Andrew Berry decision. It wasn't my decision, XYZ. Everybody was like, oh, they're trying to say they hate Shedeur. They're trying to say that. I'm trying to tell y'all that was like I say, and I've been saying this for the 2 years I've been making these guys. Anytime like owners, coaches, football players, when they're in front of the media, they're sending messages in multiple directions, right? You're trying to be media trained, but then of course there's always undertones there. There's always things that are not said that need to be understood, or things that when a football player hears it, it's going to be related in a different way. And okay, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. I know you're trying to defend. And in that case, I said, look, I think this is Jimmy Haslam trying to, in the public facing media, say, hey guys, this is an Andrew Berry thing. There is no conflict of power here. I would never, as an owner, I'm not playing Jerry Jones. Of course not, because we make fun of Jerry Jones. He has his hand too much in the pot. I would never do something like that. And I told y'all, look, I'm not telling y'all these things because I believe that that's the truth. I'm telling you as somebody who, got a marketing degree. It says business administration. It was supposed to say marketing, not the point. Anyway, I got a marketing degree, okay? I know what this is, man. He wants to send the message of, hey, I'm not making any decisions. I'm not interfering with any of these decisions from a football operation status, when surely, again, and this is why I trust Cleveland, ESPN with Cleveland sources. I trust him more than Rex Ryan, right? Because Tony Grossi, guess what? Tony Grossi also reported on this. So I'm inclined to believe this. You see how that works? You see how I don't believe Rex Ryan because he's not standing on anything that I can connect. I can connect all the dots to why Rizzo and Tony Grossi both are reporting internal strife with the decision makers. And I told y'all back then, that's what that was about. It really has nothing to do with Shedeur. I know that's crazy because the Cleveland media tries to make everything about Shedeur, but it had nothing to do with Shedeur. It was about the message that Jimmy Haslam was sending to head coach, sending to the general populace, and sending, of course, to Andrew Berry. Because Andrew Berry knows the truth. And the truth is, as we're seeing, is Jimmy Haslam probably does have a large hand in the decision makings. Jimmy Haslam and a lot of these owners, and that's the thing, a lot of them don't want to, and I think we're starting to realize that, for as much as Jerry Jones is used as the scapegoat because he's out there, he's exposed, he's doing it, for as much as he's like looked at as the trouble owner who just can't get out the GM's way, there's a lot of owners who can't get out the GM's way. And I think that what we're going to realize, right, with the whole, Shedeur was picked by Andrew and not Jimmy, is at some point, and I'm going to trust it when it comes from Tony Grossi and when it comes from Rizzo. I will have to, even though I think Rizzo might be compromised. Whenever that report comes out of, actually, Jimmy Haslam did push to pick Shedeur. I'm calling it right now. Now, whether that's right or wrong, whether Shedeur even gets to start, I don't know. But the problem and the reason why I said he came out and said that is for this exact reason. You can't have it make it look like it's everybody against each other at the internals. And it needs to look like the owner is just being an owner. I'm just funneling. I'm just coming in and checking it out. That's what it needs to look like. But these billionaires don't. That's not what they do. They want to play the Sims. They want to move pieces on puzzles. They want to talk to the GM. They want to get into the head coach's ear. They want to get into the star player's ear. They want to have they're owners of a football team. They want to have a imprint on this team. It would be dumb to be a billionaire, put all this money in it, and think I'm not gonna make some motherfucking decisions around here. That's not just about uniforms and stadiums. Nah, motherfucker. Give me 12. And look, I don't know. Maybe it's opposite around. Maybe it's Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam literally didn't want it. That could also be true, but that could be true while also being true that was messaging of, hey, I'm trying to make it seem like everything's cool. I'm trying to make it seem like we all agree when clearly there is a lack of agreement from that standpoint. So I just thought that was interesting to point out and get deeper into. So I do want to talk about this. So apparently, and this is what I'm talking about, man. Riz finds a way, and this is why, like, I don't know, is Riz compromised? Y'all let me know. Now he's talking about there's a case to be made that Shedeur Sanders starts this week instead of Dillon Gabriel. I've given my case as a Shedeur fan why I think Shedeur should not start, and it's because these are the Browns, and this Browns offensive line is deteriorating. And before we get into this, because this video is getting long, I want to address this because Lamar Jackson is out for 2 to 3 weeks. Anybody who says, oh my God, Shedeur Sanders would have been starting right now if you wouldn't have turned down the Ravens. One, you have the thought process of a 12-year-old. Like, you're not really good at making like multi-layered like thoughts that have different consequences attached to them, because you're telling me that the at this time, remember, 5th round pick Shedeur Sanders is going to eat. Let's say that he balls out and is perfect. You think he's gonna start? They're gonna bench Lamar Jackson, the quarterback they paid $200 million for. Is that what you think? The entire offense that is scripted and crafted around him, that they just gonna throw that out the window for Shedeur? Okay, I'm there with you, and they're just gonna trade Lamar Jackson. Okay, possibly. Maybe. Or do you think that even in the best case scenario, he plays great, he does good, and it's just an audition for another team, and Lamar goes right up to be starting, and in best case scenario, what happens is he gets then traded to then a team that, okay, now we can build an offense around him and go through a whole offseason. Do y'all not pay attention? And I know y'all don't. I know y'all don't. I know y'all respond to Shedeur fans online, and y'all think y'all are speaking to Shedeur. But if you listen to Shedeur in his interviews, and this is something that, which is so crazy because y'all used it against him. Y'all used it to say that he was overconfident and arrogant. Come on, guys. Y'all got to stay consistent. Remember when he was talking about, hey, if you're a franchise that doesn't want to change their organization and actually have winning and become relevant again, he said, don't draft me if you don't want that to happen. You think he was just saying that? Why would he say, hey, I want to go to a place that has historically been bad and change it? He's referenced the Browns multiple times. Well, the Ravens aren't historically bad. The multiple Super Bowl champions. Ravens, Lamar Jackson, he's got some time there. The Eagles just won a Super Bowl, and they won a Super Bowl in 2017 and were in the Super Bowl not too long ago before this last one. So what's that? The Browns fit the bill. I genuinely think that Browns fans have a hard time believing, first of all, how terrible y'all have been for a long time, and that a young kid whose history in the last 2 schools he's been is taking not an unrelevant, but maybe a fall from grace organization and bringing them back up to relevancy, because you got to respect Colorado. You got to respect Jackson State, of course, right? And he sees another opportunity at the NFL level for me to be like, let's do it. And I can fully take over here. He's not going to be able to fully take over in the Eagles. They pay Jalen Hurts too much. You're not going to be able to fully take over with the Ravens. He gets paid too much. And then here's another catch-22 for all my Shedeur haters, right, that are saying, he's so dumb, he could have gone to the Ravens. So you have to agree that you think that Shedeur Sanders plays better football than NFL veteran Cooper Rush. So which one is it? Comment down below. Is he better than Cooper Rush? Now, I'm going to keep my opinion to myself. I'm going to keep my, but you let me know. Since Shedeur would have been starting this week, so he's better than Cooper Rush? Okay. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all for praising them. So let's hear it, Riz.
Shouldn't Shedeur start over Dillon Gabriel? Shouldn't he get to start first?
Oh, I don't think so at all.
Well, here's my thinking.
He said,
they want to see what Shedeur Sanders is. He's a throw-in. He's an asset. Dillon Gabriel's going to be here as their backup quarterback in your mind for the next 4 or 5 years. Yep. No rush in getting him in there. Let's see what Sanders can do.
I still think you got to think of the locker room and throwing Shedeur in there from number 3.
You don't think Shedeur is well received in the locker room?
I'm not sure that teammates think he can win.
Why?
Veteran guys.
Why?
They were at the Rams game.
Were they at the Panthers game? Tony, you keep going to the Rams game. Do you want me to go through the linemen and receivers?
Better.
No. No, it was crap put around him. I don't want to get into it again with you. Hey, hear me out. Get off the Rams game.
He's got crap in front of him now.
According to the reporters, they're developing him. Let me see him. Let me see the kid.
Well, he's a longer range development, in their opinion, than Gabriel is.
I think he deserves to.
What's the message you're sending to Gabriel if you promote the number 3 guy?
You're the backup quarterback for the next 5 years. There's no rush.
Okay, and this is what I mean. Like, hey, I'm gonna end it here. I do think Riz is slightly compromised. I do think because this was just a good excuse to get riled up, to get Tony Grossi a little mad, and to just find another way to speak about Shedeur Sanders in some way. Look, I think we speak about talent and development and all these different things, right? And I think some of y'all, even in my comments, get upset when I say things like development. But I do think there is a line. Sorry, I also don't think the Ravens and Eagles, who also don't play the style of football and don't have quarterbacks in that realm, like Shedeur, that fits his strong suits. I don't think that makes sense for him too. What I think makes the most sense for him is to find a way for people to stop wanting to talk about him in the media. Stop trying to villainize him and find ways. Again, Shedeur, I want y'all to be reminded, because this is something that I think people keep getting missed. Tony Grossi is just having such a great time, just being able to talk about Shedeur, him and Riz. So I think it gets a little confused. I think it gets a little backwards, right? That Shedeur, but besides voice crack, but besides this video that he's released, Shedeur hasn't said anything. The video that was released, that interview, ESPN Cleveland representatives, the company that Tony Grossi and Mr. Tony Rizzo work for, they asked him questions. In fact, they tried to ask him specifically about Deion Sanders' words. And he said, hey, I don't care about that, XYZ. And then everybody obviously got butt hurt because he said, hey, if you see the quarterback play around the league, of course I think I'm ready to play. And obviously, shout out to Paula Sanders. She responded. I want to end this here because it's like, and maybe I'm just getting old. Is that possible? But how soft are these old people? These old Rex Ryans and these people on Twitter that I see who are like, I can't believe Shedeur Sanders just disrespected all the quarterbacks in the league. Wait, what is disrespectful about telling the truth? About saying I pulled the statistics. Have y'all not looked at statistics? Did y'all not see Jake Browning throw 4 interceptions in 2 starts? Y'all, that's what it is. Y'all ain't watching football. Because if you watch football and maybe just look at the stats, you would be like, oh, there's a lot of bad motherfuckers playing quarterback right now. Joe Flacco is ranked the 33. There's only 32 teams. This motherfucker is worse than Joe and Browning. Joe Burrow, that is, Mr. Joe Flacco. There is some absolute terrible. Geno Smith is throwing meatballs to anybody in the opposite color jersey, and you gonna look at me in the eye and say, "How disrespectful!" I just can't believe he would call ass quarterbacks ass. You're just crossing the line. If I was a QB3 in the league, I would feel pretty confident if Geno Smith was. He's awful. If I saw Trevor Lawrence, if I saw Jackson Dart, now and he could have a better game and he had a good game, but Jackson Dart with the training wheels on, basically be the leading rusher. He wasn't the leading rusher, but rush for 54 yards, throw for another cool little hundo. I have my defense give me 4 trips to the red zone, which I only converted on 1. I mean, yeah, I think, matter of fact, yeah. You would be dumb to not think that. You would be dumb not to think that. Have you watched Jake Browning play football? Are you sure? Are you sure? Oh, man. Y'all be great. Like the video if you like it. Dislike if you don't. Subscribe if you like football content. Continue to be phenomenal, great, and everything else in between. We'll see you next time.